your hosts, James Poovey and Ray Miranda.
We welcome you in for another edition of the Rockin' Rewind podcast. Ray Miranda, along with James Poovey here. Ray, it's been a while since we did a show, my friend. I'm excited to be back on here with you. We're going to talk about the show here in just a minute, but how have you been doing?
Doing great, man. You know, went to a few shows over the last, year or whatever since we've been gone, and just trying to get as much music in as I can, man.
Here's the real question, Ray. Have you knocked the dust off of that Marshall cabinet behind you right there yet?
Yes, I have.
When's the last time you fired that thing up?
Actually, yesterday. You know what? I'll tell you this. I had a friend of mine come over, and we were doing some things through that and some other equipment that I have. And great guitar player. I'll bring him on here one of these nights.
Okay, yeah, please do.
You know, great guitar player. You know, he's a little bit younger than me, so, a little bit more thrash and stuff like that. But hey, whatever. I mean,
that's all right.
I'll learn some thrash. I mean, it's good exercise,
Yeah, it's definitely a workout, that thrash metal stuff. But the band we're going to cover tonight, my friend, I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. I think you have too. And we're not talking about the car tonight. We're talking about the band, and that's Tesla. When I say Tesla to you, Ray, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
You know what? Okay, not the car, but just straight ahead rock and roll. Straight ahead rock and roll that is in your face, and there's no mincing. There's no, it's just straight rock and roll, which is what I like. I like that stuff. And it's great, that they are still going after 40 years. 40 years, man. And people still go see them, and they still do what they do. And it's incredible what they've been doing.
It really is, Ray. And they have only truly lost one member in that 40 plus years they've been doing it. Troy Laketta stepped aside back in 2021, said he needed to spend a little bit more time with his family. And he was kind of saying he wanted to just take a break at that point. And then unfortunately for the band and for Tesla fans, he hasn't returned to the lineup since. They've gotten a new drummer. Mr. Brown is taking over. He's the younger brother of Mick Brown, the wild Mick Brown from Rockin. And so he's taken over the reins and done really well there. But as you mentioned, man, just absolute straight ahead rock and roll, and that's exactly what you want. We're going to take a look at some of the clips that we pulled here from the band. They're on tour right now. They made it actually through Mesa just about a month or so ago, I believe it was. Yeah. A little over a month ago, and they're still hitting the road, and they're road warriors. They've been doing it for 40 plus years.
I wanted to say one thing. I know that they had some a little bit of lineup change. Back a long time ago, they had a lineup change with Tommy Skeel, which was their original guitarist. Which, man, I love that guy, man. I mean, that was all that dual guitar stuff. And just to throw it out there real quick, he's got his own thing going on. He great guitarist, and he was in the band Bite and Resist, which for anyone out there that wants to check it out, just look up Tommy Skeel. And then he moved to another band called Bad Marriage. In fact, I was listening to some of this stuff earlier today. I'm like, man, that is some good stuff. I mean, just what he was doing. And there was a point in time when he was doing guitar lessons, for whoever, the average guy out there, for anyone that wants to do that. I don't know if he's still doing it, but the guy is, Tesla,
yes.
And then once you listen to, those two bands that he's in, was and is in now, I mean, you'll be like, okay, he's serious. but yeah, let's move on to Tesla and what they're doing now, and see, we got schedules and all that stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned Tommy Skeoch. He was a big part of the band, especially in the early days, and he was replaced after he departed by Dave Rude, who is still in the band today. And Dave's been in there for, I think, about 20 years or so now, by all accounts, and does a great job in there. And it's all about that 2-guitar crunch when it comes to Tesla. Let's go ahead and pull up some of their live stuff right here. This is Little Susie. This is honestly the first song I ever heard by the band back in, I think it was 86, man, if you can believe that. Same year Mechanical Resonance came out.
Yeah.
And just fantastic stuff right there. I wish some of these videos were just a little bit longer, but man, it's outstanding. Had a chance I've seen them a couple times in concert. Got to go actually backstage with them in '95 when they opened up for Lynyrd Skynyrd. I got a drum head over there I'll bring on here in a minute that I had signed by the drummer. Obviously, I'm a drummer myself, and that was huge. But these guys are just super down to earth. They're not all about the flash. They don't come out. They don't have to have a bunch of flash pots going off and rockets and bombs and everything, which is cool to see at a rock show. But they just come out, and it's really all about the music.
Well, that's what I appreciate about Tesla is that, I remember back a long time ago, I was into, younger days here. I liked a lot of that, like Yngwie Malmsteen and stuff like that. I still
yes,
but a lot of that stuff kind of went to the wayside in the 90s. And, and then a band, Brother Kane came out.
Yes, who is also touring right now.
Yeah, yes, and we'll talk about them soon enough. But I remember telling the guitar player, because I was in a small enough venue where I could talk to him. I said, "Man, that's about time some kick-ass rock and roll comes around." And you know what? Tesla comes around a little bit earlier than that, and they were around, and they were one of the few bands that was still playing. They weren't grunge, they weren't all that stuff.
Right.
So I really appreciate these guys because it's straight ahead rock and roll. There's I don't even think they have keyboards in their music.
They don't.
Yeah,
they don't. And I remember one of the first things I saw when I was reading the liner notes of that Mechanical Resonance album way back in the 80s.
Yeah.
They had a little tagline on there that said "No machines."
Yeah.
And I had only been playing drums for just a couple of years at that point, and I was like,
"Yeah."
What does that mean? I was only about 10 or 11 years old, but no filler stuff, no tracks, none of that stuff. Which I'd like to talk to you about too. A lot of these bands going out right now that they're either half there or they're half not singing, or that they're putting their background vocals on tracks, but you will not catch that at a Tesla show.
Yeah, exactly. And they what you see is what you get. And they come out, Jeff Keith, awesome singer, Frank Hannon on the guitar, Dave Rude, I believe.
Speaking of Frank Hannon, let's take a look at this right here, man. Coming at you live.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That flying V right there.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. See, I mean, there's the other guy.
There's Dave Rude right there. Yep. They trade off licks. This is a video from a couple of years ago now, obviously, because Troy Laketta is still back behind the drum kit there.
Yeah.
Dave Rude, phenomenal, man. He loves that Les Paul. And a couple of bands spawned off of these guys in the mid '90s. I remember I was living in Nashville, Tennessee. Frank Hannon went on and formed a band called Moondog Maine, and then Jeff Keith was also in another band that him and Tommy Skeoch were doing together called Bar 7. And I actually got to see them live in Nashville. Man, they tore it up. But here's Tesla at their finest right here.
Yeah, I love that. This rock music at its best.
I'm a mean machine.
such an awesome vocalist, such a nice guy. He is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, however, so I'll try not to hold that against him, but I learned that when I got to meet him back in 95. But we talked about that for a few minutes, obviously.
Wow.
Super nice guy, man. The whole band, just so down to earth.
Yeah, here's the thing about him. I don't know if it's true, but he, from what I'm the way he became a singer was that not the way he became a singer. He was in a contest. The girls put him in a contest, and it was like, you know, no music. He just had to go up there and sing some stuff. And from what I understand, I mean, the guy did really good, you know, just singing. You know, I don't even know if it was a cappella or just what, there was a band back there or not. But that's how he got kind of discovered. Now I don't know. I've kind of looked that up, and you know, but I don't know. But he's a great singer. He's a great front man. Perfect for that band. You know, he's got that persona. You know, he's you know, I kind of fondly call them like a 70s hippie band. You know, just because of the way they dress and they just keep going, you know, the way that they are. And I don't have a problem with that. But you know what? There's some other bands out there that are trying to do the same thing as them. I don't, you know, the younger bands. You know, and in the very beginning, one of them was, I don't know, they're really popular now. They even have a cult following. I can't even remember the name of them. I don't know, but there's
a couple bands along the same line as like newer bands. Dirty Honey is one of them that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Rival Sons is another one.
That's a good one. But I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about they sound like Led Zeppelin, the singer. Do you remember that band?
Kingdom Come?
No. This is the newer. They've changed their whole style. Now, I don't even remember it now. I could look it up, but anyway.
Greta Van Fleet?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
They started off really good, in my opinion, and then they got kind of weird. But hey, they got a big audience, and they
have a huge following. You're right.
Yeah, big following, and they're doing really good, and good for them, man. You know, but yeah, Greta Van Fleet was the one I was thinking of. But yeah, Dirty Honey, Rival Sons are great bands for all of you guys out there that are just looking for some new good rock and roll music. And
let's face it, that's hard to come by these days, because a lot of this stuff that you hear on the radio, I mean, I'll find myself, I'm stuck to the classic rock stations because I go and try to listen to something else, and it's just not good. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, and then you hear the same old tired songs over and over.
But for some reason, those are hearing those same songs over and over again, and hearing "Sweet Child of Mine" for the 5 billionth time is still better than some of the new stuff that's out there. I hate to admit it, but that's the truth.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. But anyway, these guys are tearing it up. They're on tour. We'll show you a go see them. Get their latest album. Here's the
there's the tour map right there. They started looks like back on May 11th up in North Dakota. They're still on the road as we speak. They actually looks like they're taking about a month off, just shy of a month off. They finished up in Caldwell, Idaho 2 nights ago. So that would have been Saturday night.
I wanted to mention something about as far as albums of note, okay? They have an album out, they haven't one that they just put out in June or April, I don't know. It's like a reel to reel, but it's all cover songs of bands that they Aerosmith and the Stones and stuff that they really like. But they do their latest one, I think, was Full Throttle Live, which was done at the Full Throttle Saloon in, I want to say North Dakota, but South.
I think
Dakota.
it's in Sturgis, South Dakota. Yeah.
Sturgis, yeah.
And Jesse James Dupree, I think, owns that Full Throttle Saloon, if I'm not mistaken,
yes,
singer for Jackal.
And if you listen to that album, it's I was listening to it earlier today. Great album, heavy. You know, it's if you're in that environment with the bikers and everything, you know, it's just great album. They did really good. Another thing I wanted to talk about was this album right here, Simplicity.
Let's get you full screen so we can take a look at that. What all is going on that one?
Okay, so this is a little bit older, but it's like 2-3 albums ago, and it's great. I have the CD in my CD player there, but I mean, guys, go out there and get the album. It's great. One of my favorite songs on there was, and I think you might have it, James, is MP3, which talks about, you know, the name of the album is Simplicity. And it talks about how you're going from all this technology and then down to the MP3. You know, it's just great. It's a great if you have that album.
Yeah, how it kind of loses some of the purity because, you know, old school rock fans, you know, we grew up on the, I don't know about you, but I had 8 tracks. And into LPs and then into cassettes, and as things slowly got smaller and got more compressed, pun intended, the audio became more compressed. And now when you listen to a track online, which, you know, it's almost overwhelming these days to be able to just pull up something like Amazon Music or Spotify and go, wow, I can listen to whatever I want to listen to. It's almost too much. Whereas back in the day, it used to be more of an event when an album would come out and you'd go get the album, or you maybe camp out for concert tickets or something like that. It was just a little bit more special back in the day. And obviously we know the music business has changed dramatically since then. Yeah,
the songs I like off that album is MP3, which is a great song, Honestly, and there's another one called Time Bomb, which is very, you know, I like all those songs, man.
Would you say that's your favorite Tesla album? You can only pick one.
You know, they got like 13. They got a lot of albums, man. 20,
they do.
Maybe even more than that. I don't know how many they have. I was going to look that up, but you know, Mechanical Resonance. You know, the first one. That's the one that, you know, with their very first album was the one that caught my attention, just because of the time period and what was going on at the time. And
do you remember when you first heard it? Like, how did you come in contact with it? Did you hear it on the radio? Did somebody say, "Hey, check this out"?
No, you know what? Okay, so what happened was that and I had heard it, but then, you know, at work I was talking to a guy and we were talking about that, and he's like, "Man, have you heard of this band?" And I had heard it, okay. But then when he started talking about it, we you know what? We were unloading a trailer together. We were unloading packages. And he's like, "Dude, have you listened to this album?" And I'm like, yeah, kind of. But then and he had a little speaker or whatever. I'm like, "Put it on, man." And that was back a long time ago where you had to have cords to plug everything.
I was going to say there's a little bit more effort involved to having a speaker back then like that than there is now.
Yeah. It wasn't it wasn't an easy task. But he's like, he played it, and I'm like, "Geez, that is," you know. And then I went to see them at the Arizona State Fair.
Okay.
Which was crazy because that, you know, there wasn't a lot of people there. I think they were fairly new. You know, the fair was smart enough to put them in there for my sake anyway.
This is late 80s?
Yeah. And they just man, they destroyed it. And they only played for like an hour, you know, because the fair has limitations, family stuff or whatever.
Sure.
But man, it was fantastic, man. I'm like, oh my god, you know,
Was
I
the
just,
fair doing free shows like now when you buy your admission to the fair, you can go and you can sit in the general admission area and
at
all that
that
stuff?
time it was free shows. Now, you know, if you want to go, you know, I've seen a lot of shows in Arizona at the state fair. Now,
Yes.
you got to pay, you know, an extra $10 or whatever, you know.
Okay.
But at that time, no, it was just like going to the fair and you just had to get in there, you know, before it sold out or it didn't, you know.
Right. Right.
At that time, Tesla was like, "Who's that?" You know,
Yeah.
you know. But
Nobody really knew.
yeah, they were fantastic, man. I mean, they just, and then I've seen them a couple other times out at Big Surf. Remember that?
Okay. I remember the place. I don't think I've ever actually been there because it was it's been closed down for a little while now over in Tempe, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there now. Back at the time, I mean, I've seen some shows there, you know, since then, but um, at they were there along with like House of Lords and Faster Pussycat, and I don't know some
Oh
other.
wow, you're going way back now with the
Oh
House
yeah,
of Lords.
yeah. But yeah, no,
Great
they
band.
were. I think Extreme was there with their first album. I don't remember. It was a
Now
big
you're killing me.
yeah, it was a big festival thing. But anyway, Tesla, man, it's Tesla, man. I mean, you know, so anyone who's interested in that, I would definitely go to. Well, actually, if you want to go to the website, it's Tesla the band. Oh, there you go.
My little Lady Luck right there. This is the one I wish was longer for sure right here. But it's all about that twin guitar, man.
Yeah,
So good.
Tesla the band. Because if you go to Tesla.com, you're going to run into Elon
You
Musk.
will not end up in your desired location.
Yeah, TeslaTheBand.com. That's where you want to go. Now they are on tour, like we showed a little bit earlier. Check it out. They're about halfway through their tour now. They're going to be touring all the way through November. Looks like.
Yeah. They're off right now until the 24th of August, where they pick up in Mount Vernon, Kentucky. And then they go to the Mountain Music Fest in Gatlinburg, which I believe is going to be hosted by Eddie Trunk this year. If you hadn't had a chance to listen to Eddie Trunk on Sirius XM Radio, that he is the encyclopedia for all things hard rock, and certainly an enjoyable show. We got to give him a plug.
Now, also for those of you who have a little bit of extra cash, you want to go on the Monsters of Rock tour. They're going to be playing on that. They're going to be playing on that along with like Rockin and a bunch of other bands, which I didn't want to put up here tonight because we're talking about Tesla, but they will be on that cruise. And you know, usually they play, you know, those cruises. I've read a little bit about them. They're like, you know, 5 to 7 days. Which,
man, we got to get on one of those one day.
Yeah, I know. I got to tell you, James. Honestly, I'm at the age where I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can hang with that 5 to 7 days and serious rocking. I don't know, man.
Well, that's the beauty part about it, though, is that you don't have to go to everything. You can just kind of pick and choose what you want to hit and you know, shows that you want to see. And I mean, from what I've heard, some of them start kind of early, and obviously, I'm sure there's ones that go late. But you know, you could make it happen.
Yeah, 24/7, man. There's some good music playing. They're going to be on that for in March.
Okay.
March in 2025 from the 10th to the 15th. So you're talking about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 6 days where they're going to, you know, you'll at least see them twice if you are so inclined.
That would be 6 wonderful days right there with some awesome other acts on the ship as well, right?
Big bands, yeah. And I did want to say that we didn't show the videos from MP3 or on it. Honestly, there's another song called Time Bomb. If you go out to YouTube, there's a guy named Celebration of Sound, has those songs. Check them out. Okay. MP3 is a great song.
It is.
yeah, and some of the things I've seen where they play, it's just like, man, that's some good stuff, you know.
Here's the
But
bottom line, though. If you have not gotten out to see Tesla live, and even regardless of how long you've been a fan, you have to put that on the bucket list because
exactly,
it is fantastic. One of the
yeah,
best live bands I've ever seen, and every time I've seen them, they brought it. There was no doubt.
exactly. And do that, support them, get their album, download it, stream it, whatever you got to do. You know, I'm a big believer in, you know, supporting these guys, you know, because, you know, you can download it and stream it. Yeah. And you're going to pay for it. Yeah. Who cares? Get, you know, you can get the album or whatever, but there's no record stores anymore. So
Yeah,
just
it's a lost art, man. It makes me sad too because, like I said a little bit earlier, it used to be more of an experience. Music used to be more of an experience. Like they
Mhm.
would announce an album that was going to come out, and they would release, you know, give you a little snippet, maybe a song or two off that album, and you'd be waiting for it to come out, and then you like, okay, it's coming out on. Remember, they used to come out on Tuesdays. That was the release day, and then they had to change it because of all the digital stuff and people leaking albums early. There's a great documentary I saw actually on, I believe it's Paramount Plus. How Music Got Free is what it's called. You've got to check it out if you haven't had a chance.
I
I think
will
it's on
check that
Paramount
out. I
Plus.
don't think I've seen
It's
that.
called How Music Got Free, and it talks about this guy that was on the inside of one of these CD plants, and he was leaking music out to. This was, you know, around the Napster time and all that sort of thing, and these artists were going, I don't understand. We haven't released this, even a song off this album yet, and all of a sudden everybody has our album. What's going on? It's called How Music Got Free. You got to check it out.
I might check it out. Paramount Plus, maybe.
I believe it's Paramount Plus. Yep.
Yeah, we'll give them a little plug here, but yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
of course.
I am, you know, people get on me because, you know, like my kids used to get on me because I had Rhapsody / Napster, and they're like, "You're paying for music?" I go, "Yeah, I am," and they're like, "Why is that?" And I'm like, "Because these guys deserve to get paid." And then you know what? Lo and behold, all of a sudden, Spotify. Now you got to pay to play the music.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
so,
but it's pretty inconsequential when you think about it, as far as like what you have, you know, with that,
yeah,
what is it, $10 or $12 a month now, what you have access to. I mean, there is
yeah, and you
millions
know
of
what?
songs.
Yeah, you can download it. You can put it on a hard drive, whatever. You know, and I don't have a problem with it. I mean, these guys deserve to get paid. But this album right here, Simplicity,
You heard it from Ray Miranda. Go get
one
it.
of my best favorites. You know, look, it's got a little deal. Now, I try to buy every you know, hardcover album. You know, I'm a big Dream Theater fan, as you are, James. And
Yes.
you know, by the way, we'll talk about them soon. But you know, they're going to be coming out with some new stuff. They're touring
Yes.
right now in Europe.
Cannot
They haven't
wait.
put out a new album, you know, but we'll talk about them when the time comes. But tonight is Tesla, and anything that they have, Tesla, you know, from Mechanical Resonance all the way up to the whatever, you know,
So
they got
many
like,
great albums. The
yeah, they
Great
got
Radio
like,
Controversy is fantastic. Busted Nut is my favorite, and it's not even close. I wore that thing out twice, I think.
now they do have a reel-to-reel disc. Like I said before, it's a bunch of cover music, you know, from older bands like, you know,
Right.
Stones and
They
stuff.
put their little
But I
spin
mean,
on it.
they got like 25 out, not 25, but you know, 14, 15, 16 albums that are great.
So
You
if
know.
someone came to you and said, "Hey, I want to check this Tesla band out. Tell me where do I start? Where would you send them?"
Okay, what I would do is I would say there's two albums you really need to listen to. Just to get in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Only one. Where do they start?
Okay, so this is about 24 albums. Okay, I was just counting them up here. I would say now, honestly, I'm not into the acoustical jam stuff. It's Tesla. I don't want to hear acoustic stuff. I want to hear, I can go into a big thing about that. But
speaking of acoustic stuff, I mean that right here, Signs, which is actually a cover song.
Yeah, okay, Signs
is one of their biggest tunes all time.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I mean, that is a classic. Wait, did he just take his hat off and his hair flew out?
Yeah.
I like that.
This is fairly recent, I believe.
Yeah.
JK is one of those frontmen that just absolutely does not get enough credit for what he does.
Exactly. So if it was me, if I was gonna break someone into Tesla, I'd say, first of all, Mechanical Resonance, first album.
Okay, start them there.
No, that's what they did, and then I would do like the second album. With I think he has Love Song and all that stuff on it.
The Great Radio Controversy.
Yes. And then I would probably, man, every album is good. They got stuff replugged, but then I would jump up. Honestly, the one
Speaking of replugged, there it is, man. That was the show right here.
Replugged. Yeah. There you go. Got the shirt on. There you go. I would jump up to like Simplicity. Because they got some live albums in here and stuff. Twisted Wires is great, and then that Full Throttle Live, man, the last one, man.
I haven't got to check that out yet, but I want to.
Yeah, it's live, it's all their live. Like I said, I'm not a big live fan because I'd rather have the album of the original songs.
But the thing with me is, when I'm gonna check something out for the first time, especially if it's a band that I like, it's got to be in the right setting. I can't be listening to it on a little laptop speaker or some little earbuds or off of a cell phone. I got to have like a you know what I mean? I got to have a good speaker system going, and I got to get all of it. I got to get the low end. I got to get the drums. Obviously, I want to hear all that. What's going on there? And I can't just like, let me put my phone up to. Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right?
I hear you. I mean, you got to hear the whole thing. You got to have
as it was intended to be heard.
Right, like that kid on the Great Radio Controversy. He's got the headphones on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you got to. That's the way you got to listen to stuff. I mean, I used to kind of trip out because people would be listening when I was working. People would listen to music with one earphone in.
Yes,
I'm like, there's no point in even listening to that. What are you listening to? Some guy
borderline criminal, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, anyway, I'm just rambling now, but that doesn't make any sense to me. I got to hear bass, drums, 2 guitars if there are
2 guitars, especially with this band, right? It's got to be there. It's got to be there.
So,
final thoughts, Ray, as we close out this Tesla episode here, and it sure was great to do another show with you. I got to tell you.
Yeah, man. Let's keep it rolling. By the way, for you people out there that are wondering, are you guys gonna keep doing this? Yeah, we're gonna keep doing it.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna be more consistent with it. It's not gonna happen every week, but it'll happen every other week.
Yes.
And we will, bring you news and concert tour schedules of whoever's coming up.
We'll have some special guests joining us as well. I mean, we've had the pleasure during the show's time. We got to talk with Johnny Gioeli from Hardline. We got to visit with Stevie Blaze from Lillian Axe. And so we'll do some more stuff like that. Obviously, these guys are very busy, especially if they're out on tour and it's tough to catch them. But if they're home, Usually they're pretty willing to come on and talk about their band or their experiences, and
I
we
will
definitely
say
would
this
love to have
about
'em.
Gioeli. That guy was a saint, man, because after that show that we did where I had technical difficulties, but that guy, man, was, you know, after you realize what he's doing, I mean, that guy is a star
Yes,
overseas, and he took the
absolutely,
time to talk to us. I mean, man, that was
super
crazy.
cool,
Yeah, I mean, that was
super cool.
crazy, and I want to talk to that guy anytime, you know.
And we'll
Um,
we'll have to do that. We'll have to set that up again and catch up with him and see what he's up to, because that's been a couple of years ago now that we spoke with him.
yeah, he was good. But anyway, so y'all listen. We'll be back here in a couple weeks, and we'll bring you the latest. You know, we got some shows coming up. Sammy Hagar, one of them. Journey, Def Leppard. There's a
All
bunch of
good
others.
things.
You know, a bunch of other ones. We can't go to all shows because that costs a lot of money. But you know,
Oh, does it ever? We definitely can't go to the Eagles show at the Sphere. That's for sure. Have you
yeah,
heard about the ticket prices
Eagles.
for that thing?
Yeah, that's crazy,
Oh
man.
man,
Yeah,
they're selling it out. That's why they keep adding dates.
yeah.
People are
Oh,
buying.
people are going and whatever.
Hey, good on you if you can swing it, right?
Yeah, do it. Do it if you can do it.
And some other artists that we might be talking about here in the coming episodes. So we talked about Extreme. Let's talk about, we need to have a show devoted to those guys. Definitely one of my favorite bands. We obviously said Dream Theater is going to be on the horizon with Mike Portnoy rejoining the band just recently. They're in the studio now recording new music, and they're going to be touring the globe probably. I don't think it'll be later this year, probably early next year is when they
Yeah,
kick that off, I imagine. And no
yeah.
doubt we'll be there for that one.
So tune into TeslaTheBand.com
That's it.
and check out. You know, if you're in the Midwest, they're going to be there soon. Um, and yeah, that's the main one tonight. TeslaTheBand.com, not
Do
Tesla.
yourself a favor. Yes,
Yeah.
TeslaTheBand.com. Do yourself a favor. Get to a Tesla show if you have the opportunity to do so. And we appreciate you guys watching tonight. And we'll be back hopefully 2 weeks from tonight, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
All right, guys. See you
Take
in a
care.
couple weeks.